This week, we're talking about labeling emotions. So we think this is very important for kids to understand because there's going to be many points in your life where you come up with in a situation that, whether it's frustrating or challenging, to understand what you're feeling or how those situations make you feel, it's going to help you become better at the end. Because if I'm angry, if I'm sad, if I'm upset, whatever it may be, I can understand, okay, I'm sad right now. What can I do that I don't stay here, but instead I go out and, improve in whatever that challenge was, or take on whatever challenge made me upset in the first place. So with your incredible journey and all your achievements, has there been a moment where you were able to self-reflect and be self-aware of your emotions and kind of get through that?
Yeah, I mean, emotions are everywhere, right? I think that one of the moments that I remember was competing at the Olympic Games on sport's largest stage with all of my friends and all of my family watching, a moment that I had worked my whole life for. And I remember sitting up at the top, and I can see the beautiful Callahan Valley in front of me, the glaciers, the trees, the fans, the spectators. And then suddenly, like you start to really internalize that what this means. Like, this is it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Heart pumping, right? And one of the
Totally.
things that I was ready for this though. I was ready for this because I had been thinking about how I was going to label my emotions when they came, because this is not unexpected. I should be nervous. This is a moment that I have trained for my entire life. I have
Yeah.
lived across the world, away from my family, away from my friends. I've made choices for good nutrition. I've made sure I've got enough sleep at night. I have been doing everything in the playbook for me to be my very best. And there's no reason for me to be nervous because I am there to do what I have always done. And that
Yeah.
nervousness is just a reminder to me that I care about this a lot. But
Oh,
that's
great
all it is.
point. Yeah. That's a great point. And I think that, thank you for bringing that up. That's a whole other thing. But just to touch on that, yes, like you said, emotions are everywhere. There's no shame in feeling these things, right? And they're just reminders of that you care about something, whether it's feeling nervous or being frustrated or getting sad. It's just a reminder that I care about something. So now, what am I going to do about it? So how did you get through that nervousness?
Yeah, it's a great point. So I mean, I wasn't always able to get through it, obviously, and that was frustrating and onto itself when you can't perform when you want to. But those moments where things did work for me, one of the things that I actually wrote it on my skis, and it was just
Oh,
let
cool.
let it fly and let it go. And that was on left ski and the right ski. And it was just that final reminder when I was crawling onto the start gate with nothing between me and my performance, but basically my mind, was just to let the
Yes.
program go. Just let it go. There's no reason to overthink. There's no reason to be extra frustrated, extra mad. It doesn't matter about all the jumps that I've just taken. It doesn't matter about all the jumps that will come in the future. In that moment, when you're crawling onto the start gate, when you're stepping up to the starting line, it only matters what's going to happen in that next moment. And you have the power to make that
Yeah.
as whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, absolutely. That don't overthink it and just kind of be in that moment because that's what matters right now, right? So I love those two sayings, the let it go and let it fly. I think
Yep.
that's super awesome, especially being a ski jumper and you guys literally flying. That's super awesome. So I'd like to ask you kind of though, was that something like, did you deal with nervousness like that before the jump, or did you think it held you back at some point?
Well, I mean, I think that in the competition setting, like, nervousness is probably the emotion that I felt the most. I would say that it was the one that really came to mind all the time. But I mean, I had other emotions when I was going through this training process. When I would be training in the gym and I would be having to do all of the dry land training, all of the training that's
Hmm.
not I mean, I just told you about a beautiful moment at the Olympic Games in Canada. There couldn't have been a
Yeah.
better sporting experience for me, of course. But I mean, I spent a lot of time in basement gyms in basement gym is just working on the tiniest isometric exercises over and over
Right.
and over and over and over again. And sometimes you get a bit frustrated when your coach is just telling you like, no, like move
Yeah.
the hips a bit closer, or
Right.
like, no, still a
Yeah.
bit closer, or another time, try it again, try it again, try it again. I
Yeah.
mean, emotions flare up. Like sometimes
Yeah.
that's frustrating. And so, I
Absolutely.
mean, sometimes when you have those emotions, you're like, okay, well, let's take a step back here. Like, is my coach really just punishing me and making sure we can't go back to the hotel, or are perhaps we just working on the reason we're here?
Yeah, that's awesome because I think a lot of kids what they struggle with is finding that like solution or being able to analyze a situation and say, yeah, he's not trying to punish me. He's just trying to make me a little bit better. Can I give it a little bit better? Right? And then those emotions kind of get put aside because you're like, okay, I'm frustrated, but it's a reminder that I'm trying to do my best. Let me try to do my best. Let me be a little bit better. Let's take in this information from my coach or parent or teacher.
Yeah,
And if you still don't understand, I'm sure you ask your coaches questions, right? Of
of course.
like, I swear my hips are as close as they can be. Like, what are other tips that I can do? Um, so that's great stories. Great
I
stories.
think that I think that one of the things that I also learned about just like labeling those emotions when they came in was that everyone else is having their emotions too. I often felt like I was the only one feeling these emotions. I always thought everyone else had it
Yeah.
under control. They were calm, they were cool, they were doing everything right, and I was the only one. Like, why did I feel
Yeah.
like all this stuff going on? But once I realized that, in fact, my teammates and my coaches, we were all when things weren't going right, we were all frustrated. We all wanted
Right.
this to work for everyone, and once I started realizing that perhaps like if I'm getting that feedback from a coach that's frustrating me, that they might also be frustrated because they know what my potential is and they know that I can achieve better and they're just trying to help me get there. And maybe they're not finding
Yeah.
the right words for it. So maybe I just need to ask them to explain it a bit differently, and then it will make them less frustrated because they were able to help communicate better with me, and then I will get the instruction that I need to better advance the skill that I'm working on.
Yes, I'm so glad you touched on that because you're absolutely right. In any team situation, in school, even,
Mm-hmm.
your parents, your teachers, your coaches, they all want the best for you. And we're all in a team together, right? For me, I just reflect on when I'm with my soccer team. You're right. We all want to do the best that we can, and we're all trying to achieve the same goal, right? Is to win that game or, whatever it may be. And you're absolutely right. You're not alone. Everyone feels emotions and they all go through this differently. And just being open about it, you probably feel a lot better. Because I'm sure when you opened up to your
Yep.
teammates, they're like, me too, I feel the same way. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of having to work through those emotions yourself and figure out, how am I going to get past this, you can actually work with your teammates who are feeling the exact same way, who are going through the exact same situation, and work
Of
off of
course.
each other and say, okay, well, you know what? Let's help each other. Let's work on that exercise together, or let's work on that skill together, right? And then, greater things happen.
Yep. It takes practice. Just like
It
just
takes
like hitting
practice, yeah.
hitting every shot takes practice. Like labeling that
Yeah.
emotion, I mean, it only gets easier when you try it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Nobody's
Yeah.
just good at it.
That's so true. Yeah. And so the first step, so we'll end it off with kind of just, I think the first step for kids is to just recognize that they have an emotion. Just recognize it. Don't be ashamed about it. Don't bury it. Recognize it, and it's okay. And then from there on, you'll learn how, to move past it or whatever your recovery process is.